Red and Chloe thought they fixed the timeline. They changed Bridget's past, stopped her from becoming the Queen of Hearts we knew, and came home to a completely different future. But after Wicked Wonderland, I don't think they fixed anything permanently. Because the Queen of Hearts is coming back. Red is beginning to change. Chloe may have accidentally activated the pocket watch again, and there are characters who seem to know that something about this timeline isn't right. So I went back through everything, and I think I know what actually happened. Red and Chloe didn't erase the original future. They delayed it. They only delayed her. So if Chloe accidentally sped up the future, she may have just skipped straight through that delay, which means evil Chloe didn't just break the timeline. She may have brought the Queen of Hearts back early. First, we need to go back to the rise of Red. Red and Chloe travel into the past because they believe changing one event involving Bridget can prevent her from becoming the Queen of Hearts. And apparently, it works. When they return, Bridget is completely different. She's happy. She's loving towards Red. The tyrannical Queen of Hearts we saw at the beginning appears to be gone, which makes the ending feel simple. Change Bridget's past. Change Bridget's future. Except, Wicked Wonderland makes that explanation much harder to believe, because things from the supposedly erased future start appearing again. And I don't just mean similarities. Some of them are incredibly specific. One of the biggest clues is Bridget herself. We already made a short about this, but it's even more important when you look at the entire timeline. Bridget didn't simply become a completely different person. There are moments in Wicked Wonderland where the old Queen of Hearts seems to break through. The anger, the intimidation, even language that sounds suspiciously familiar to the Queen, we thought had been erased. And that creates a problem. If Red and Chloe completely rewrote Bridget's personality, why can the original Queen of Hearts still emerge? I think the answer is that changing one moment in Bridget's childhood changed the route she took, but it didn't necessarily remove everything that could eventually turn her into the Queen of Hearts. Imagine the original timeline as a road. Red and Chloe didn't destroy that road. They put Bridget onto another one. But those roads might eventually reconnect, which would mean the Queen of Hearts wasn't erased. Her transformation was simply pushed further into the future, delayed. And this is where Chloe becomes extremely important. Because before everything starts getting worse in Wicked Wonderland, something happens with the pocket watch. Watch Chloe's hand. That glow matters. We've already established that this object reacts when its power is being used. So whether Chloe intended to use it or not, something happened. And here's the theory. Everyone naturally assumes a time travel device would send them backwards again. But what if that isn't what Chloe did? What if she moved the timeline in the opposite direction? Forward, not necessarily 20 years into the future. I'm talking about accelerating events that were already supposed to happen. If Red and Chloe delayed parts of the original future, accidentally moving time forwards could begin removing that delay. And look at what begins happening. Bridget starts showing more signs of the Queen of Hearts. Red starts developing darker Queen of Hearts imagery herself. And most importantly, the black hearts appear in Red's hair. That detail could obviously just be costume design. But within this theory, it's incredibly interesting. Because Red has spent her story trying to escape her mother's legacy. And yet, the further we move into Wicked Wonderland, the more Queen of Hearts imagery begins appearing around Red herself, which gives us 2 generations being pulled towards something associated with the original timeline. Bridget is beginning to resemble the old queen again, while Red may be moving towards becoming the next one. And suddenly, the idea that Chloe accelerated time doesn't sound quite as random, because things that should have remained years away may be arriving early. But there's another problem. Maddox. We've already questioned whether Maddox remembers more than he should. And if anyone could recognize that the timeline has changed, Maddox makes sense, because his relationship with time, Wonderland, and the events surrounding Red and Chloe gives him something most characters don't have. context. Now, I don't think we can say for certain that Maddox remembers the entire original timeline, but his behavior becomes much more interesting if memories or information from the erased future can survive timeline changes. Because that would mean time in Descendants doesn't work like deleting a file. Changing history doesn't necessarily erase every trace of what used to exist. Some things might remain: memories, personality traits, relationships, destinies, and maybe even people who know something is wrong. And this creates an incredible irony with Chloe. Because if the darker version of Chloe wanted events to move in a certain direction, Chloe activating the watch may have accidentally helped make that future happen. She doesn't need to intentionally say, "Send me into the future." If the watch responds to emotion, intent, contact, or whatever power is influencing Chloe at that moment, simply activating it could have consequences she doesn't understand. Which means evil Chloe may not need to physically take control of time. Chloe herself could do it, accidentally, and that makes the pocket watch much more dangerous than we originally thought. Because Red and Chloe's solution to the first timeline problem may now be the object creating the next one. So here's my full theory. Step 1. Red and Chloe change Bridget's past. Bridget's transformation into the Queen of Hearts is delayed. Step 2. They return to a future where those consequences haven't happened yet. They assume that means the original future has been erased. Step 3. Wicked Wonderland begins showing remnants of what was supposed to happen. Bridget's old personality starts resurfacing. Red starts showing darker Queen of Hearts imagery. Step 4. Chloe activates the pocket watch. Instead of sending them backwards, it potentially pushes events forwards. Step 5. The delay starts collapsing. Events that were supposed to happen much later begin arriving now, which means the future isn't necessarily changing into something completely new. It may be trying to catch back up with the future Red and Chloe originally escaped. And if that's true, this becomes much bigger than Wicked Wonderland. Because Wicked Wonderland is Descendants 5, which means the full consequences could be saved. For Descendants 6, Bridget may continue becoming the Queen of Hearts again. Red could continue moving towards the darker future we've already theorized about. Chloe may realize that activating the pocket watch caused far more damage than she understood. And the next story wouldn't be about traveling back and changing history again. It could be about something much harder, accepting that you can't keep rewriting the past every time you don't like the future, and finding a way to stop what's happening without breaking time even more. So no, I don't think Red and Chloe failed to change the timeline. I think they succeeded. That's what makes this worse. They changed when everything happens. And if Chloe really did accelerate that future, then the Queen of Hearts isn't returning because their plan failed. She's returning because their time is running out. But what do you think? Did Chloe accidentally speed up the timeline? Or is something else forcing the original future to come back?